हाँ ऑन कर दीजिए।
आज आम श्री वासुदेव मिश्र जे कि जड़े वैदिक वैज्ञानिक पाखु आम वैदिक विज्ञान द्वितीय भाग विषय शुणा जाऊे। वासुदेव मिश्र सर।
नमस्कार। Yesterday we discussed about Vedic interpretation of the fundamental forces of nature. Modern science says there are four fundamental forces of nature: strong interaction, weak interaction, electromagnetic interaction, and gravitation. In Vedic science also accepts the same thing with some modification. Strong interaction is called antaryama. The weak interaction has two parts, alpha decay and beta decay. Vedic science treats them as separate. Alpha decay is called yatajama and beta decay is called bahirjama. Then electromagnetic interaction is called upajama. Gravitation is called ujjama. And then chemical bonding also included in this group because the process is same. Atoms join and they can also be separated, molecular bonding. So that is also treated as one of these yama sambandhas. This is called samsara bandhana. So samsara bandhana means loose coupling. The tight coupling is that which provides mass to everything. So that this thing we discussed. And then we discussed this gravitation is, we call it one Vayu. What is Vayu? Vayu is that energy which moves other objects as a whole without disturbing them from inside. When it disturbs from inside, it is called Agni. So this is the difference between Agni and Vayu. Gravitation treats the whole thing, the whole body as a point particle, as a whole, without disturbing its internal affairs, internal structure. So gravitation is a Vayu. And this Vayu, Vedic science divides into 7 different categories called Sapta Vata Skandha. Yesterday we discussed about this also. So I will not repeat those, but only come to only one point: how to calculate theoretically calculate the oscillatory value of the gravitational constant G. As we know, the value of G has been measured at different times precisely, but every time the value differs. About 10 years ago, the scientists came to a conclusion that there is a pattern why this value differs. They found that it has a periodic value over a period of about 5.9 years. Actually, they said period is 5.899 plus minus 0.062 years with an amplitude of something, they have given some amplitude. Acha. So, but here in Vedic science, we give a precise value. Yesterday I described Pravaha Vayu, which propels the planet around the sun. So this Pravaha is generated, yesterday also that I explained, Pravaha is generated when the Bharga and Maha interact together. Bharga of Maha of Sun extends up to Jupiter, and so the whole thing, it is like Maha is like a personal space around us. So here we can feel if somebody comes very near to us, we can feel his presence, though it doesn't touch us. Similarly, Maha of Sun extends like our atmosphere of the Earth. Maha of Sun extends up to Jupiter. And when all other things are inside, in between Sun and Jupiter, who are the very, very large bodies, so they are all affected by both the pulls of, not push of Sun and Jupiter. So when they are pressed in between, but they are stabilizing at one point. So that point has to take into account an average of the pulling between the Sun and Jupiter. Here, the Prabha Vayu makes Jupiter go around the Sun 3,64,220 times in 4.32 million years. That is, for going one round on an average, just like atomic orbitals, they are not fixed, they vary, fluctuate. Similarly, all the planets go around the sun not exactly at the same time, but that time also slightly varies. So here we take a 4.32 million year cycle to bring out the average. In 4.32 million years, Jupiter travels around the sun 3,64,220 times. So for each round it takes about 11.1209. Sorry, 9. I said wrongly. It takes it takes little less than 12 years. 11 years. Then, so when it goes around for both sides at the same 180-degree angle, that effect is same. So we divide that figure by 2, so that the periodicity comes to 5.899 plus, that is 5.930481577068805. That is the periodicity of value of G. Since it is 5.93, then up to 10 decimals, and modern value is 5.899 plus minus 0.062. So it is approximately same. And I am talking about the Vedic value as average value. It can be precisely calculated as per Surya Siddhanta. So this proves that our theoretical derivation of G is actually same as the modern experimental value of measurement of value of G. So this is one proof that how Vedic science is much more advanced than the thing. Then second, next slide. Acha. Next slide, please. Electric charge of nucleons. This is from people are talking where is the proof that there is quantum theory in the Vedas. Here, this is one example of quantum theory of the Vedas, which have been found to be experimentally verified some 3 years ago. So now here, as per this, normally the charge of proton and neutron has never been measured separately. When electron was discussed, the charge was considered as -1 as the unit, -1. When proton was discovered, they said it must be balanced because we don't feel any charge, so it must be plus one. And when neutron was discovered, they said it must be zero, must have zero electric charge because there is atom must be charge neutral because we don't experience anything. But this is not the correct interpretation. When they measured, they found, here I have given the link, they found that charge of neutron is not zero, but it contains some element of negative charge. Similarly, charge of proton is found to be little less than that of the electron. Now the question is, if this will make the atom not charge neutral, but charged. So when it is why don't we feel it? Since everything is made up of billions of atoms, we should feel that the charge must be significant and we should feel it, but we do not feel anything. The reason is the excess charge is negative charge, and negative charge is always directed towards the nucleus. So we are touching the everything from the opposite side, not towards the nucleus, but away from nucleus. If I am pushing something forward and somebody touches my back, he will not feel any push. Similarly, when negative charge is this excess, there is excess negative charge, we don't feel it from outside. It is felt inside. In fact, that is the reason why how it is bound together. Here, I have published a paper which is available on the net, Nuclear Physics in the Vedas. There I have given the detailed calculation, and here we can see that the charge is modern, when quarks were discovered, and they found it is a fractional charge. So they thought it must be plus 2 by 3 and minus 1 by 3. But actually, our theoretically from the Vedas I have derived and shown that it is wrong by 3%. It is instead of plus 2 by 3, it should be plus 7 by 11. And instead of minus 1 by 3, it should be minus 4 by 11. That will make proton charge as 10 by plus 10 by 11, a little less than electron, which is experimentally verified. And similarly, it will make neutron minus 1 by 11. So that it has some negative charge, which also has been physically verified. So that proves that the Vedas contain a higher, much higher level of knowledge than even modern science. Acha. Then we can go to the next slide. Here I am given Trayatrinsat vai Devaha Kausatiki Brahmanam and Asova Aditya Ekavingsaha. This is the calculation how I derived at that figure. So, Trayatrinsat by Sarve Deva. So, the quantum particles are 33 in numbers according to the Vedas. They are arranged in a sequence. And out of the 33, Asova Aditya Ekavimsa. So the Aditya is at the 21st level. 21st is Aditya. Aditya here means Surya. So they are divided into three parts: Agni, Prithvi, Antariksha, Deholoko. So Agni, Vayu, and Aditya. That way, this 21 have been divided into this way. Beyond that, it is Soma. These are up to a 21st, it is Agni. Then beyond that, it is Soma. So total 33, out of which Agni with positive charge is up to 21. 21 by 33. That makes for plus 7 by 11. And the other one, that is 12, that is Soma, that is negative. Because it contracts everything. So Soma is negative. That is 12. 12 divided by 33. That is 4 by 11. Minus 4 by 11. This is how I have derived that charge. I have given the Vedic quotations to back my statement. Then, so and recently it has been found out in 22. They 2022. Some team found out that they say the mass is 3% in error. But how do they derive the mass? They measure the charge divided by c square and call it mass. That means what they call mass is really charge divided by c square. And I have given the charge directly. So according to my calculation here, electric charge is 3% in error, and they say mass is 3% in error. That means they confirm my statement by experimentally. So this is complete. Now that we have some time, but this our presentation here is over. So let us go to some other thing. That is, some people are questioning where are the evidence in support of my statement that Vedas they have all these things. Whereas I got, particularly in the previous slide, I have shown the quotation from the Vedas. These are the quotations from the Vedas that about the from where which I derived the charge of the quarks. Now I talk of the in quantum theory. There are basically four theories. One is the quantum field theory. That is the major one. But the modern quantum field theory is totally misleading. Suppose you play 17 games in one stadium, it does not become 17 stadia, but it remains one stadium where 17 games are played. But according to quantum field theory, since there are 17 quantum particles, they there should be. Acha, here in 17 is interesting. I'll come back to it later. Since they say since there are 17 quantum particles, then and there should be 17 fields. That means since 17 games are played in one stadium, that should be treated as 17 stadia. That is a total wrong interpretation of some science. So, in the Vedas, field is divided only into two categories. Sthula Sukma Vibhagena Dvida Kshetram Avasthitam Sukmam Karya Sorasakam Sthulam Sukmam Buddhyadi Matrajam. There are two types of field only. First field is the gross field, the material field, that is only one and it extends everywhere. It is subject to space and time variation. But there is another field which is infinite in number, which is our own internal mental field, that is infinite in number, Buddhyadi Matrajam. So it is a pictorial field, it is not subject to time and space. If we see something and keep it in our memory, it remains irrespective of time and space. But outside world, it is every moment changing. Because it is changing every moment, it is called samsara. And since it is always mobile, it is called jagat. So that jagat or samsara, the external field, it is only one. We see it differently, we react to it differently. But our internal perception of that external field, it is infinite, it is individual to each of us. it is separate, infinite. So through that only we perceive this external field, and that is invariant in space and time. That is one, field theory. Then quantum chromodynamics is the second one. Chromodynamics has three color charges. We also have three color charges. अजम एकम लोहित शुक्ल कृष्णं बहि प्रजासृजमाना स्वरूपा. This is Shweta Upanishad. Here it talks about three color charges. Now it talks about Lohita Shukla Krishna, red, white, and black. And modern quantum chromodynamics says red, blue, green. So they say it is different. One professor yesterday asked me, "This is different. How do you say it is same?" I said, modern classification of colors is based on the notion that these three colors, red, blue, green, they combine to make white. So since white dissolves into these three colors, they have given this color because they are inseparable. So these colors, but we call it Sattva, Raja, Tamo, Triguna. So Raja is called red because whenever we see something moving away, we measure it by its red shift, measure the distance by its red shift. So Raja is called red, and then Sattva is white because we see everything through the light of Sattva. And since light is white, so Sattva we call it white. And Tama covers up everything. Since it covers everything, it is called as black. So our classification, nomenclature is more scientific than the modern classification, which is just a whimsical classification. Acha. Then in quantum theory, they say three color charges and three anti-color charges. But in the Vedas, anti-color charge is not separately described because each color charge has one anti-property of another color charge. For example, so Sattva is Laghu and Prakashaka. It is weightless and revealing. Tama is the opposite. It is Guru. It has weight and it covers up everything. So that is there. Then Raja is Chala and Upastambhaka. It is mobile. It moves everything, and Tama stops everything. So Tama stops everything. So पहले टिके बंद करी अल्प समय पे पाँच दस मिनट 10 मिनट अच्छा अच्छा so 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 that way it is now Raja moves everything, but Tama stops everything, obstructs everything. That is in the anti-property. So because of this, so that is, we don't treat them as separate particles, separate properties, but anti of one property. Acha, then come to electrodynamics. Electrodynamics, they talk about two fields, electric field and photon field. Here, what is electron? If you ask any scientist, they will not be able to say because they are looking it from the opposite direction. What happens here is when a proton radiates out, when that radiation is stopped by the trapped by the field, that point where the radiation is trapped, that point is called electron. So since we are looking, modern scientists are looking at that point, not the source from where radiation goes, but the point where it is trapped, they find it is probabilistic, not deterministic. if they reverse their search from where the radiation is going, they can find it is not probabilistic, but it is deterministic. That is one thing. Similarly, photon is when electric field and magnetic field intersect each other, they intersect in a straight line. And when the line moves, the tip of the line is called the photon. Since it is the tip of the moving line, it has no mass, so it is massless. But it is since it is a tip only, again it is normally, unless you see look at the say sunlight comes to us continuously, it is never cut off from the sun. The same line comes from sun to us, then only we see it. Light is something similar. It is a tip of a continuous line. So that's why it also moves fastest, because it is only energy flowing through space. Acha. So that word. Then third is standard model. Sorry, quantum field theory I said, quantum chromodynamics I said, quantum electrodynamics I said. The last is quantum field standard model. Standard model, we know it has 17 particles, but although there is some controversy about it, but we also consider Saptadasa by Prajapatihi. Saptadasa is treated as Yupa. Out of 33, 17 is called the central point, 17. It is called Yupa. And from here, it reverses. That means what they call it particle and antiparticle. It is that only. 17 towards one side, 17 to the other side, 16 to one side, 16 to other side, 17th is the Yupa, the central point. So because of this, so this when the when first from left side it moves right, from right it moves back like a pendulum. So from the when it moves first time, it is called Gaharpatya and Dakshinagni and Ahavanya, these three. So right left is Gaharpatya, middle is Dakshinagni, and right is Ahavanya. So when it swings from left to right, it is called Purana Gaharpatya, old Gaharpatya. And when it reverses back, the right side is called Nutana Gaharpatya. So this is there. So that explains why the importance of 17. Why there are 17 quantum particles, and we call 33 same thing. Only 16 one side, 16 other side. That is reverse, and in between one middle Yupa. So there is no difference. Modern science and Vedic science agree here. Acha. Then this when we talk about this 17, acha, I've described all these four fundamental forces of nature and how it is classified as six in Vedic science. So I will discuss rest in some other time. Thank you. हेलो हेलो बंद कर दिया नहीं नहीं फॉर द मोमेंट फॉर इट इज फॉर टुडे we'll discuss again later.
Thank you, sir. Actually, what we are trying to do is there are a lot of misconceptions regarding Vedic science. So, what we are trying to do is to step by step, we want to connect the Vedic science with modern science, and also, particularly in the quantum science, there are a lot of new things that can come from Vedic science, which will help us in developing our new knowledge horizon. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So we end today. We will again meet in another session where we will speak about quantum science in detail.
Thank you.